Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Indices, and this is the pattern that we've been looking for all week here. And if we're looking at the S&P 500, this particular line through here would be the lower end of minor group 2, which would be the 5650, and we're looking for a classic trading levels pattern 1 here, which is the most common pattern. So we've really been looking for this first high above the level here in all of that, and then once it tops and drops, then we're looking for the setup. Now we can take this entry here and put it across the top, which we will be doing today, and then we'll be looking for the second entry here, a better entry, and then probably a better entry. So we'll be on the search for a better entry. As I said during the week, if we take on board the Bullish Weekly Cycle, which is just something that I've sort of invented up, which creates Thursday as the bear day, and Friday shoring up on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday and Monday being bullish and working into those sessions like that. So that's where we are. And as a top here, we've been focused on the volume. So on the S&P here, we can see that in the last session, the Fed's dropping their funding rate to 5% at 50 basis points. So we can see here that the sellers are in control. We've got increased volume. We've got more volume than the previous day. Yesterday, when we were looking at this here, we were looking at this particular bar here, and we had more volume than the previous day there. So we knew the sellers had come in, but we knew that the move up here was also weak as well, because the range was long to start with on higher volume. Second bar here was smaller in range and on lower volume, and then this one here was on lower volume still. We also understood that we're coming into previous tops here, so we knew that the sellers would be there, and well, you know, it doesn't have to be many sellers, but more profit taking occurring at that level. Now this is minor group 2 here, 5650. And 72 and 80 here, all of this is part of group 2. And what we're looking for long trades, by the by, is we want that 5650 as the support. So you can see that these highs are here. So if we go back to our basic pattern here, this is the 5650. We want this as support. We want to find the first high above the mark, above the level, and then if the market takes that high out, then it's proving to us it's strong, but we can improve that entry and so on. But we want to buy new highs, and that way the market proves, you know, the market's proving to us that it is strong at that point. So we have the volume here confirming that there's, you know, further profit taking going on here at the moment. So we don't have a long trade setup, but what we do have at the moment is we have that high here where we can go long at that point. Obviously we should turn that green here nor there at this point, but that's the long trade, and now we need to improve that by moving it down and down until we get what we want here. But of course, all trends, markets are all just trends and corrections of different degrees of fractals. So we've seen this move up through here. We see it moving up on lower volume. We see the profit taking coming in. We see the sellers in control, and now we're looking for this trend to rebalance and move into it. So that's pretty much the story across the board when we come to the S&P 500 on this particular chart here. We start talking about Elliott wave. We're talking wave 3 and 4 here, going up to wave 5 here. Between 4 and 5, we're looking for 5 waves of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Between wave 2 and wave 3 here, we're also looking for a motive impulse wave of 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get on board this wave 3 here. So in Elliott terms, it'll be the third wave in here, so it'll be the third of the third. There'll be a couple of other, between 2 and 3 here, there will also be 5 waves. So this wave 3 here should technically be longer than wave 1, and we could probably even add another 60%, but I want to be conservative and we'll just sort of focus on the 6,000 at this stage. But the steps are, now we want this 5650 here to become the tested support, and then we can build long trades in from that point. So going from the daily to the 20k here, and just picking it up from this wave 2 and this wave 2 here, So that's that wave 1 and 2 here, so we don't need that. We can come into this one here, and we're looking at 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5. There's different ways to count this up here. Not that it makes a huge difference. As I mentioned, we can go long above this point here. Now, obviously, when the Feds come in and have their say on things, markets get a little bit sort of volatile and patterns get a little bit out of control to sort of recognize and all these sorts of things. So we need to let the dust settle a little bit. But this number here that you're looking at, this 56.50, if we're going to go long, we need that as support. Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday and the day before, we won't really know how far wave 2 pulls back. It could pull back to the 50-60%, which will be normal. So that's all still quite possible as well. As I also mentioned, there will be there's support at these previous lows. There's support in this little area here, and then there's final support down here at this. So there's 3 places of support. We may end up with a very shallow correction here, and then we just push straight up from here. We may come down to this consolidation area here and then push up from that point, or we could come all the way down here and then push up from here. So we don't have an answer for that, but like I said, if we get support on the 56.50, then we can go from that point there. And I was kind of looking for Thursday afternoon to shore up the market, so for buyers to come in. And if Friday morning is in the first hour is bullish, then you need to be adding to positions to that, and then depending on the volume that comes in on average, if it's more than average volume in the first hour, well, then it will continue to trend through the lunchtime session. The other little caveat here is on Friday we'll have futures derivatives rolling over as well, I believe. So shouldn't be too much of a shake-up, but just be mindful of that as well. So I just really want to go in here and talk a little bit more about this area here. We can do that on the 1,000 ticks here. So there's a couple of ways to look at this here. First of all, we're talking about having wave 1 here, and that's quite doable. And the markets like the Russell kind of puts a nice wave 1 into this space, and we can have a look at that very shortly. We could put wave 1 over here as well. So we could look at this as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave down here, and we're done here, and we could put wave 2 here and we can go. That would be the shortest route to the upside. This is our 56.50. And if that is the case, let's just assume that for a moment, then there would be 5 waves up here creating the first high above the level. And then we can drop this. We've had this at the top here. We can drop it down to here now. We want to drop it over to this one here now. Now, what will happen here in reality, there'll be 5 waves in this structure here, and then there'll be a ABC pattern here, and then you'll be able to take this and put it over to here, and then if it's going to be strong and get proof to you that it is strong, then it'll take out that position here, and that's the one that you want, and you'll move your stop from here to here once that's triggered and halve your risk at that particular point in time. So, if we're going to be lucky, then this is how it's going to play out. If we're not going to be lucky, and this is wave 1 up here, then we're going to have that high up here, and then we're going to have this over here as wave C over here, and we can look at this as wave A here. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. And then in the next video, I will look to see how we can play it out at a deeper level, the next level down here, or the 550 or something, wherever it may be at that point. Tomorrow's video we'll look at how we can build in at that point. If there is a setup there, we'll try to improve. So basically, in a nutshell, we're starting at the top here, and we know that we could bring it down to here pretty safely. And this number here, the 56.50, that's really what it's all about, really, that lower end of Group 2. Group 2 is 65, 72, and 80. There's a lot of other important numbers in here, but this is minor Group 2 here, and that's important at this point. So we'll just see how the cookie crumbles at this stage. So yeah, that's about all I can say. And if it does drop down here, well, then we'll be looking at that tomorrow, and then we'll build from that particular point. And also watch the stocks video as well, because that will give us a little bit, give you a bit of an insight and a feeling to what's going on. So that in mind, all of that rambling on there, this is how we could view the Nasdaq as well here. We're just on 20,000 ticks just intraday. So we can look at this here as wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C wave here, and keep it all nice and tight here, and put wave 2 into here. If I've made a mistake in all of this and we need to put wave 4 over here and look at this as wave 5 here, then so be it, and we'll end up with you know, some sort of ABC pattern coming down to here, and then we'll pick it up from that point. At this stage, we want to go long above this this top area here, so we can just come down off here. This 19,500 is the one that you'd be looking for. So let's just say that that, you know, something occurred here and we pushed up here. We push up here, and then it'll give us that first high above the level and some sort of ABC, and then we go up from that point. So you can bring it down to this one and then down to this one. So that's where that would be at that point, and that would be your long trade. At this stage, I'll just keep it up there. But that 19,500, it's really about the 500. So between 19,000 and 20 here, we've got the Fibonacci numbers 1, 2, 3 to make up minor group 1. You can see the importance of that. The midpoint here, 50, you can see the importance of that. And then we've got minor group 2 here. So it's really all about the number 5, the second strongest number in the market after 1. And is that support? Now, this market has been trying to develop that as support with these first highs above the level, but it's never really been able to do it. And we knew that it wouldn't be able to do it anyway, because this whole trend here needs to be corrected. So we'll just see. You know, all week we've been not being involved in the market. We've just been waiting for the top and the turn. We knew that it was going to get a bit ugly, and it is, and you know, it hasn't done any damage to us. And now I mean, today is really about confirming that we've got a top in play. So that's a huge step forward, you know. That's yeah, well, that's just huge, you know. So now we start to look for long trade setups. As it matures, if this gets bigger, the more that it matures, the more we'll understand, and the more we'll know, and then we'll know what to do as time goes on. So we're getting there. It's been a long haul. I know that we've been, you know, all the way over here. We haven't really been involved in the market, and then we have to wait for over here. It's just, you know, I mean, it's what it's all about. I mean, you make money in the trend and you give it back in the corrections. So all I've done is just try to keep you not to push any buttons. So anyway, we're getting there, and then we come over to the Russell. It's 1 degree smaller. Here we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, so we can call that top in here. I could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could put the A wave here, I could put the B wave here, and I could put the C wave over here. You know, it could come down further. I mean, obviously lower rates are good for these smaller companies that access finance and so on. It's also possible to put this into here and look for this low in here as well. There's a couple of ways to look at all of this, so I'm not going to get that involved in at the moment, but what we can do, like I said, is that we do have a top in play here now. So tomorrow we'll just see how this plays out, because if there is a B wave that comes into play here somewhere, then we'll be able to drop that down onto this one here. And if it is an impulse wave to the upside in the next session, we get some sort of 5 waves up here, don't worry about chasing it, because it will only come into the highs here and then it's going to pull back again, right? So we just need to be chilled, and then we can go along on the motive wave, B wave here for that. So if it moves up here higher, be careful about chasing it. It's okay to trade it, but just use a smaller amount, so you're not going to be, you know, so you don't have to explain the loss to your wife, or blame me. So yeah, that's that. This could also be counted a little bit differently here. I mean, it really looks like we could put wave 3 over here on this, but I couldn't really justify that. And so, yeah, I could do that. I could bring that in over here as well. Yeah, I could bring that up to here. Doesn't matter. We've got the top, so it's cool. Now we just need to wait. And this is the 220 here. So, you know, from 200 here, 1, 2, and 3, which is the minor levels, and that's minor group 1. So what our aim is to do here is to get a position on number 2 here, and then build on to the top of minor group 1 here as well, 3, 1, 2, and 3 here. Yeah, so that's it. So we're getting there. At this stage, if this top gets taken out, then we can be long from that point, but otherwise we'll wait for any move up, because we just got to try to dodge the bullet of a possible B wave and then a C wave here, you know. So we're not quite there just yet with this, but we're getting there. And then we come over to the European markets, and this is the daily chart for the DAX. So it's exactly the same count in terms of timing of wave 4 here, with 1 and 2 here as the S&P, and then 1 and 2 here as well. And most markets and indices will be folding into that. I'm just going to go straight to the 1,000 ticks and pick it up into this little area here. And in that case, we're looking for, well, all week we've had wave 2 here, and all week we've been counting up here. And yeah, so that's where we are. There is a case to put wave 1 over here, but we'll just leave it here for the time being. Not the perfect 5-wave structure to the upside here, but I can work that in there. That's not a drama. Once again, I don't know if we need to look at something like this for this and that's it, and then we can go up from that point, or we're going to look at something a little bit bigger here for this. So we'll just see. At this stage, we can go long above this top here. And secondly, let's just let me just check on this. I mean, it can be an ABC here. I mean, the other side to this here, really, we may need to go there, but I didn't want to go there just yet, is to put 1 and 2 over here, and then look at this here as wave 1 here, and then back for wave 2 over here. It's a possibility, but the main point here is to go long above this top. You could also drop it down to here as well. So we'll just chill for another session. We'll just wait, but we can go along at that point. But we'll just see, you know, because it's not really, you know, I mean, we just not, you know, all of this trend here hasn't been corrected yet. You know, I mean, 50 basis point cut is, you know, is a statement, and you know, we'll see the normal sort of thing. We'll see, you know, bonds up, yields down, dollar down, gold up, all of that sort of normal stuff. But we'll see how, you know, the smaller stocks will you know, will move, will soak that cheaper funding up for sure, which is good for the economy, so to speak. But let's just see. This is not a big enough correction here, you know, unless I've got some sort of running flat as an A and a B and a C wave coming into here. I'm just not happy yet. The other thing that I mentioned yesterday as well is that all of this here is group 2. Once a market's in group 2, it doesn't normally drop back out, not when it's done all of this here. You see this, the center of group 2 here, the orange line? It was basically resistance, did a bit of a battle here, come out of support, and now it's testing support. So it's kind of locked in there nicely, and normally sort of stays in there. So I'd be sort of, you know, I'd be looking for that sort of long trade side of things, but when it's not there yet, we just have a look in here for this. It's just 100 ticks. See, I could look at this as an A wave and a B wave here and a C wave here, and that could be the end of it. We could just go straight up from there. So you'd need to see 5 waves. So this here as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then the ABC to come back. So you need something like that before you get too excited about this, you know. I mean, there's good support here too on the 72, you know. I mean, to me, the whole thing's bullish. It's just finding a way in, you know. And at this stage, we've got this as a long trade here. And then, you know, when I say this here, there's always room for improvement. So if you put this here, there's going to be some sort of little classic trade. So you go to the closest, largest number, the 50 here, and you look for a little classic trading levels pattern on that. That's the best way forward for that. And Have a look at the FTSE, and the FTSE on the daily chart is the same as the DAX in terms of wave 3 and 4 here, then 1 and 2, and we're looking for 1 and 2 here. I mean, this one's a little bit haunting because we can also count a 5-wave structure here, so this has been a bit of I mean, this counts as 5 waves down, and this here, this move to the upside, can also be counted as corrective. So if I took it at face value on without the rest of the world, it would be coming down here at this point. But it's just being dragged along, screaming and kicking and probably crying a bit now that it's left the EU and all the rest of it. Yeah. Division doesn't help anything. So yeah, it's not a very nice wave count. Okay, so we know that, we've talked about it. I've had my whinge about it. Let's just go in here, and the thing is off wave 2 low here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and please don't start throwing stuff at me because I know that's crappy count. But I'm just trying to tie it into the rest of the world, and what we're going to do is, I mean, this could be counted as 5 waves down, I get it, but we do have a bit of an overlap there, so, but it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it could be a B wave and a C wave to come down here, yeah, I don't know. So we want that first high above the level at minor group 1, so of 8,000, 1, 2, and 3. We want a tested support on this level. It's been trying to get it, but it hasn't got it yet. So we'll check it out tomorrow. And like I said, even if this gives us, 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 1, 2, and pushes up here for 3, 4, and 5 up here, we'll still find a way in the next day or so, in the next session. We just need some evidence that we're on the right. We want support. We want some structure. We want some evidence to be able to justify what we do. And yeah, so that's where that is. And then we come over to the Aussie market, and in a way, it's the same pattern. I've dragged everything into the same sort of pattern, and that's worked quite well up until now. And once again, we're just looking for in here as 1 and 2 in here, basically. So that's where we are with that. So let's go in and pick it up from that point on the 1000. And so this wave 2 over here, and then looking at this as 1 and 2 here. I moved the 3, and I had 3 and 4 in here, and you could do a few other little things with it in here, but I thought of kind of just checking it out here. I'm just sort of sitting with that for a moment, because I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 here, and all of this as the third wave here, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third, fourth, fifth. So it kind of fits in. I'll just sort of sit with it for a moment. Not that it makes any difference. We've got our top here now, so that's what we're looking for. We could view this as an A and a B and a C to here and be done with it. We could view this here as wave 1 to the upside and wave 2 here. That's also possible, and if that is the case, then we can start looking to go long at that point. But I don't know if that's true here, right? So what could also happen is that wave 2 could come back down to here, and then we would need to look at this as being a B wave over here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to come down. Do you know? But wave 2 is normally a zigzag. It's normally a 5, 3, 5 structure, and that fits quite well. So that's kind of okay. So we're just really looking for setups now in all of this. So just letting you know that it can come down further, but it's got good support. It has an ABC pattern here. We could view it as 1 and 2. That would need to go there and there. So we'll just see how that goes and see what the S&P 500 and all that does. We'll just go from 1000 to 100 and just check out this area here a little bit more and chat about it for a second or two. So we can view this as wave 1 up here, and yesterday we'll talk about going long above that, and we've got this A, B, and nice C wave here. We could put it as wave 2. We could look at this as wave 1 up here with an A and a B and 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave here. It fits quite nicely to be. And if this is true, then the US markets and all the others are going to push straight up from this low here, because this one will just tag along with the rest of the world. So it's quite possible that we're sort of ready to go. We can drop this trigger here to here now. And I wanted to say that between this top here and this bottom here, this is the 50-60% retracement level. So within that here, we've got, we've got the 8,000 here, which is major trading level. And then we have 100, 200 and 300 here. That's all of minor group 1. So when we get support on top of minor group 1 up here, then we've severed from this number here. So we're just working through it, through group 1. And this is the place to start building here. So between 100 and 200 here, where the Fibonacci numbers 1, 2, 3 is group 1, as this is a minor number here, and these are sub numbers, so it's subgroup 1 here. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, and then group 2 here. So group 2 is the resistance up here, and also the lower end of group 2 here, the 65 number, a bit like the S&P 500 at this point, that 81.65. So you could go long here in terms of looking for the first, because when you get up here, you see how it reacted here and then or drop back here, but in this case it will drop back, but then it'll push up again, and then it'll do this here. So this would be the long trade at this point if you're going to get in there a little bit earlier. Now there's nothing stopping you from going here now as well and just keeping the stop under here for this if you wanted to. That's just at this point that's just a cold hard bet. If we have an impulse wave here with a corrective wave and we go along here, then that would be a calculated trade at that point. So this is gambling and this is trading, okay? And then you'll need this to trigger that at that point. A Freudian slip of taking profit. So yeah, and that's the 50-60% from that. So this number 3 here, this 81.30 is going. Well, you can see that it's got some history here and over here. So it's it's going to have. Just be patient here, and it will resolve itself. Okay, so what you don't want to see is a sort of we could get a rally up here somewhere and then just come back down here for this. So we don't know that yet. So there's a case for the ABC and wave 1 and 2 here, but we need the rest of the world on side. So keep an eye on the S&P and and the other markets. I mean, it's a big wave 2 really for wave 1 here, and it doesn't really count in a really nice 5-wave structure here either. So there's lots of issues within all of this, but tested support on 81.30 would be if I was going to trade long and start to build in, because I'd also add on the 50 here as well, by the by. Right, so and then we'll be building in around around this number up here. So if we can get such small positions in here, that's fine. But let's just see how the cookie crumbles. Thursday in Australia can open higher and then trade lower for the day, and we want the US to shore up on the Thursday afternoon and show some positivity on the Friday morning session, and then we'll catch that wave and surf it if it's going to be there. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.